man who ran the Mafia's death squad is now a dead man walking. With the green light, Genovese puts the wheels of murder into motion.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at 20 of the most famous hits orchestrated by the Mafia.
I was very surprised he wasn't killed much sooner.
The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. We begin with the most famous gangland shooting of all time. On Valentine's Day 1929, 7 men associated with Chicago's North Side mob were lined up and shot with Tommy guns by 4 unknown assailants.
Moran's gang aren't too worried. They can usually buy the cops' silence with a bribe or two. But not these cops. They aren't law enforcers.
At the time, the North Side mob were in a war with Al Capone's Chicago outfit, as both vied for control of the city and its bootlegging operations. The shooting became international news and is now synonymous with mob violence.
He was much more likely to hire dangerous gunmen to assassinate somebody than to do it himself.
While the murders are officially unsolved, most people assume that the men were killed on Capone's orders, as he wished to eliminate North Side leader Bugs Moran and his lieutenants. However, Moran was not in attendance at the shooting and lived until 1957.
He never made it to the scene of the shooting. When he saw the cop car outside, he kept driving.
Joe Masseria. The story of Joe Masseria is full of twists and turns. Masseria led the New York crime family of the same name, with his reign lasting from 1922 to 1931. Seeking absolute control of New York, Masseria battled fellow gangster Salvatore Maranzano in what is known as the Castellano War.
Un capo, piccio, one boss.
But in 1931, Masseria's own lieutenant, Lucky Luciano, betrayed his boss and brokered a deal with Maranzano, positioning himself as second in command. Luciano orchestrated Masseria's hit, and he was shot to death inside a Coney Island restaurant called Nuova Villa Tamaro.
5 espresso.
And do what you need to.
While Maranzano was made boss of all bosses following the hit, his time at the top would be short-lived. Salvatore Maranzano.
This execution was a critical moment in the meteoric rise of the biggest gangster in American history. Charles Lucky Luciano.
This was basically a corporate restructuring that birthed the modern mafia. In 1931, after winning the bloody Castellano War, Salvatore Maranzano declared himself the boss of bosses. But the younger generation, led by the visionary Lucky Luciano, had no interest in serving an old-world dictator. On September 10th, 4 hitmen disguised as government tax agents entered Maranzano's Park Avenue office, disarmed the guards, and assassinated him with knives and guns. His death marked the immediate end of the Mustache Pete era. Luciano subsequently abolished the Boss of Bosses title and established the Commission, a governing body that ensured the mob would be run like a sustainable business rather than a chaotic feudal kingdom.
The killers were forced to do it the noisy way.
Dutch Schultz.
A lot of more cautious gangsters will eat in a different restaurant every night, change their schedule. Schultz didn't. He just picked the same place, and they would have often the same meal, steak and fries, and meet with the same people. So his enemies knew this and plotted an assassination.
Sometimes you're simply too dangerous for your own good. The Dutchman was an unpredictable bootlegger who planned to assassinate U.S. prosecutor Thomas Dewey. The commission, featuring an unparalleled federal heat such a high-profile murder would bring, decided Schultz was a liability. On October 23, 1935, hitmen from Murder, Inc. burst into the Palace Chop House in Newark and shot Schultz in the restroom. But he didn't die right away. Instead, he lingered for hours, gripped by a high fever and babbling strange poetic nonsense. Police stenographers transcribed his delirium, preserving surreal lines like, "A boy has never wept, nor dashed 1,000 kim." These haunting final words cemented his demise as one of the most bizarre exits in gangland history.
The telegram is a line from the Bible. It reads, "As ye sow, so shall ye reap." On the 24th of October, 1935, Dutch Schultz dies. He is 33 years old.
Bugsy Siegel. One of the most notorious gangsters in American history, Bugsy Siegel was paramount in the development of Las Vegas and its culture of gambling.
Bugsy used his charm and millions of dollars from the Mafia on the gamble of a lifetime.
A prolific bootlegger in New York, Siegel moved out west when Prohibition was abolished in 1933, and he became a genuine celebrity as his cultural reputation increased. However, his Flamingo Hotel had a disastrous opening, and he quickly fell into debt with the mob.
Bugsy Siegel was in trouble. The Flamingo Hotel project soared millions over budget.
Some even suspected that Siegel was stealing construction money for his own personal profit. A contract was placed on his life, and on June 20th, 1947, Siegel was shot by a sniper while reading in his girlfriend's home.
A man crept up through the shrubbery against the window.
Somebody put a carbine on the trestle outside the living room.
9 shots ripped through the silence.
The shooter has never been identified. Albert Anastasia, a co-founder of the American Mafia. Albert Anastasia ran the organized group Murder Incorporated and what is now the Gambino crime family. He quickly developed a reputation for being ruthless, earning scary nicknames like Lord High Executioner and the One-Man Army.
Albert Anastasia was the perfect model. Within the Mafia, Anastasia was recognized as a ruthless, unflinching killer.
However, his reputation for violence gave Anastasia a number of equally dangerous enemies, and it all came to a head on October 25th, 1957. While getting his haircut at the Park Sheraton Hotel, 2 gunmen burst into the shop and shot Anastasia to death.
Suddenly, 2 armed men burst in and opened fire.
The orders allegedly came from rival crime boss Vito Genovese and Carlo Gambino, who betrayed Anastasia, with the latter becoming head of the family.
Albert Anastasia is laid to rest. As a testament to his brutal character, only a handful of mourners attend his funeral.
Joe Gallo.
A high official in the Colombo family gave the okay. And they went through the kitchen of the restaurant and they just started shooting.
Few hits were as brazen as the slaying of Crazy Joe. A renegade member of the Colombo family, Gallo was a celebrity gangster who hobnobbed with actors and even inspired a Bob Dylan song. However, his open rebellion against the bosses carried a steep price. On April 7, 1972, while celebrating his 43rd birthday at Umberto's Clam House, gunmen burst in and opened fire. Gallo famously flipped a butcher block table to protect his family before stumbling out into the street to die. The hit remains iconic for its cinematic location, proving that celebrity status couldn't save you from mob justice. It was a chaotic, bloody spectacle that forever marked Little Italy's history and ended the life of the counterculture wise guy. Sam Giancana.
It's not known who came into the house at that point, but it's thought that the person came down the outside stairs from the driveway down into the basement and then shot Giancana at least a half dozen times.
A powerful mob boss is shot in the back of the head while frying sausage and peppers in his own basement. It's a scene straight out of a noir thriller. Sam Giancana was the flamboyantly public boss of the Chicago outfit, possessing ties to Frank Sinatra and the Kennedy administration. But in June 1975, just days before he was scheduled to testify to the Senate regarding CIA and Mafia collaboration, he was silenced permanently with a .22 caliber pistol. The convenient timing of the hit fueled decades of conspiracy theories linking the mob to the JFK assassination and plots against Fidel Castro. Whether it was the outfit or the CIA, someone ensured Giancana's secrets died with him, leaving historians to wonder just how much history was buried that night.
And the mob did not want Sam Giancana to go public with any mob secrets, especially the CIA involvement from those years, and attempting to kind of pave the way for the Chicago mob to continue casino operations in Havana with Fidel Castro taking charge.
Jimmy Hoffa.
I told you before, we tried everything to help him. You know that. You tried. He brought this on himself. And it's landing on us.
Okay, technically this is a disappearance, but pretty much everyone knows it. Jimmy Hoffa was murdered. The powerful Teamsters president vanished on July 30th, 1975 from the parking lot of the Macus Red Fox restaurant in Michigan. Hoffa was deeply entrenched with the mob, and his plan to regain control of the Teamsters Union threatened their financial interests. Though his body was never found, sparking widespread rumors of Giant Stadium in Florida swamps, most people now accept that he was killed and cremated. In the eyes of the law, it remains a cold case, but in the eyes of history, it's widely accepted as one of the most successful and disciplined hits in Mafia history.
It was no more complicated than that.
Danny Greene.
John, I want you to be careful.
You know, you're Irish, you worry too much.
Turning Cleveland into Bomb City, USA, Danny Greene was the fearless leader of the Celtic Club, who simply refused to die. A charismatic Irish mobster, Greene openly taunted the Italian Mafia, surviving countless assassination attempts ranging from drive-by shootings to building collapses. But his luck finally ran out on October 6, 1977. While leaving a dentist appointment, Greene was killed by a massive car bomb triggered remotely from a nearby parking lot. The explosion was so powerful it rocked the entire neighborhood and ended the life of the Teflon Irishman. The subsequent investigation helped topple mob bosses across the country, proving Greene was just as dangerous dead as he was alive. The Blackfriars Massacre. In the early morning of June 28, 1978, a number of men burst into Boston's Blackfriars pub and attacked the occupants, who had been playing a game of backgammon. 5 people were killed in the attack, including owner Vincent Salmonte and night manager John Kelly. Their bodies were later discovered by the pub's janitor. The perpetrators have never been identified, but investigators believe it was a gangland shooting orchestrated by the Irish mob. They had found trace amounts of illicit substances at the scene, and both Salmonte and Kelly were alleged to have personal connections to the mob. Some believe that the shooting was orchestrated by Whitey Bulger, the famous gangster popularized in the 2015 film Black Mass.
Just don't do it again.
Carmine Galante. Known as the Cigar, Carmine Galante was famous for his smoking habit and served as acting boss of the Bonanno crime family in the late 70s.
It's very well known that that's what I do.
During his tenure, the Bonanno family entered a war with the Gambino family as each vied for control of New York's illicit substances market. However, Galante proved too ambitious for his own good, and other crime bosses grew concerned about his brazen violence and unchecked aggression. A contract was placed on Galante by the commission, and on July 12, 1979, 3 masked men entered a Brooklyn restaurant and shot Galante. He was killed instantly, with the cigar he was smoking still dangling from his mouth.
My mother was destroyed. She was just destroyed.
Dominick Napolitano.
Yeah, nothing like a surprise Sonny Black is gonna get.
Get out of here.
Life isn't always like the movies, but this hit was the tragic sequel to a Hollywood favorite. Sonny Black Napolitano was a powerful capo in the Bonanno family, best known for unwittingly mentoring FBI agent Donnie Brasco. When Donnie's true identity was revealed, the Mafia Code demanded blood for the security breach. In August 1981, knowing his fate was sealed, Napolitano gave his jewelry to a bartender before heading to a final meeting. Upon arrival, he was shoved down a basement staircase and shot to death. When his body was recovered a year later, his hands had been severed, a symbolic warning to others that he had allowed a rat to shake hands with the Brotherhood.
If you're a rat.
Thomas DeSimone. You may know Thomas DeSimone better as the fictionalized Tommy DeVito, the hot-headed and psychotic gangster played by Joe Pesci in Goodfellas.
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
DeVito is modeled after DeSimone, who worked in New York's Lucchese crime family and partook in a number of murders, including those of William Benvena and Ronald Girotti.
Tommy DeSimone was a loose cannon. He was a brute, 6'4", 240 pounds, and he could really handle himself.
DeSimone went missing in January of 1979, and most historians believe that he was assassinated. Famous informant Henry Hill claims that DeSimone was killed on the orders of John Gotti and the Gambino crime family in retaliation for the murders of Benvena and Girotti.
But the promotion is a ploy. Instead of making his bones, Tommy is whacked.
Roy DeMeo.
1979 was a high point for the DeMeo murder machine. To cope with demand, the crew took the killings and dismemberments in-house. Now most hits were done in the rear of the Gemini Lounge, using a well-practiced method.
There are hitmen, and then there are monsters. Roy DeMeo headed a crew for the Gambino family suspected of murdering up to 200 people, often utilizing their horrific Gemini method. This involved luring victims into the Gemini Lounge, shooting them, and immediately draining the body of blood in a bathtub to make disposal easier. DeMeo was so efficient he eventually terrified his own bosses. By 1983, with the FBI circling, Paul Castellano decided the executioner had become a liability. On January 10th, DeMeo was found in the trunk of his Cadillac, riddled with bullets. In a chilling final tableau, his body was frozen solid in the fetal position, a defensive gunshot wound on his hand.
And I said, man, what a tribute to us. They killed him. They killed this man who was such a moneymaker to them.
Paul Castellano. Between 1976 and 1985, Paul Castellano ran the Gambino crime family, having succeeded Carlo Gambino himself after he died of a heart attack. In 1985, underboss Anello Della Croce died of cancer, and Castellano failed to attend his wake, infuriating other mafioso.
Castellano's refusal infuriated the rank and file, especially John Gotti.
To make matters worse, Castellano then promoted an undeserving mobster named Thomas Bilotti to underboss, further irritating an already furious group of gangsters. John Gotti and a number of conspirators placed a hit on Castellano, and both he and Bilotti were shot to death outside Sparks Steakhouse.
As Paul opened his door, 4 men in trench coats descended upon the vehicle.
These 2 deaths allowed Gotti to take the mantle and become head of the Gambino family.
Following the assassination, Gotti took over as boss of the Gambinos, but legal issues plagued his reign.
Tony Spilotro.
I made to send my brother Dominick out to Vegas. Always the dollars. Always the I mean, it was still way too hot for me to even go near Vegas. So I set up a meeting with the guys way out in the sticks.
If you've seen Martin Scorsese's Casino, you know exactly how this one ends. Tony Spilotro was the Chicago outfit's main enforcer in Las Vegas, ensuring the skim kept flowing. But as he drew too much heat and defied orders, the bosses back home lost patience. In June 1986, Tony and his brother Michael were lured to a meeting, brutally beaten, and buried in an Indiana cornfield. The 2007 Family Secrets trial revealed they were actually beaten to death in a basement in Illinois before being transported to the cornfield. Regardless of the location, it was a gruesome act that signaled the final curtain call for the outfit's golden era in Las Vegas. Angelo Bruno.
You ever hear the Gallo brothers from Brooklyn? No. Similar loose cannon situation. You see, Ron's your Joey, and it's not going to end well in either case.
What exactly are you asking me to do, Mr. Bruno?
Known as the Gentle Don, Angelo Bruno ruled the Philadelphia crime family for 2 decades, with a preference for bribery over bullets. However, in the mob, peace is often just a temporary pause between wars. On March 21st, 1980, Bruno was sitting in a car outside his South Philly home when his reign ended with a single shotgun blast behind the right ear. The unauthorized assassination was engineered by his own consigliere, Antonio Caponegro, who foolishly believed the commission would sanction the coup. Instead, Bruno's death shattered the stability of the Philadelphia underworld, sparking a bloody, decade-long civil war involving Little Nicky Scarfo that transformed a quiet, profitable empire into chaotic ruin.
I mean, Bruno, he was just made the new boss of Philadelphia. He took care of everything from Philadelphia to Atlantic City. That I know.
Giovanni Falcone. While the American Mafia underwent these shifts, the Sicilian Mafia faced off against Giovanni Falcone, a tough and brave Italian prosecutor who came down hard on the Mafia. He oversaw the famous Maxi trial throughout the late 80s and early 90s, which culminated in 338 convictions and 19 life sentences given to various bosses.
That made Judge Falcone a target, and he paid with his life.
But on May 23, 1992, the Mafia retaliated. They planted nearly 900 pounds of explosives under a bridge and blew them when Falcone drove over it, killing him and a number of others.
It's this part of the motorway that exploded as Judge Falcone's car went past.
A member named Santino Di Matteo took part in this hit, but later it turned informant, triggering a horrific act of revenge against his family.
Giovanni Falcone took his final breath while he was in my arms.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Giuseppe Di Matteo. Following the Falcone assassination, powerful mafioso targeted Santino Di Matteo's young son, Giuseppe, in a desperate attempt to silence his father's testimony. Gangsters dressed as police officers kidnapped Giuseppe and kept him prisoner for over 2 years, subjecting him to brutal conditions across various locations in Sicily. Santino even came out of hiding and traveled to Sicily in the hopes of rescuing his son, but it was too late. On January 11th, 1996, the 779th day of his imprisonment, Giuseppe was strangled and his body dissolved in acid. The hit remains one of the most tragic and widely condemned acts in the history of organized crime, shattering the Mafia's Men of Honor myth forever. Do you know of any other infamous gangland stories? Let us know in the comments.